Howdy folks, Rudros here. Welcome to a Lorcana Wednesday, and we had a, what do they call it, a Lorecast or a Lord podcast? I think it's called the Lorecast, right? Official stream from Ravensburger where they announced the next set, which is what we're looking at right here, Azurite Sea. This is on the website chipandco.com. They've got a nice little write-up for it, so I thought I'd talk to you about some of the new cards that came out, as well as some of the set details. Supposed to announce or release November 15th, 2024. That's fun. Got new, what would you call them, IPs or realms, Big Hero 6, Rescue Rangers. That's pretty fun. Rescue Rangers was a hair before my time, so I don't really remember watching that, but I did enjoy Big Hero 6 as a film. And we have some dates, too. North American Championship will be in early January in California. Supposedly, there are supposed to be events that you can qualify for the championship that are not the DLCs. If whatever those are, they need to give us some information on those pretty quickly because we're coming up towards the end of the year, so that would be great. Anyway, just wanted to go over some of the new cards with you and just let's see what we're looking at so far. So first, we'll start off with a little Big Hero 6 action. We've got Baymax, the Armored Companion, 5-cost, inkable, 2/6, good body, basically just one. He's basically like a Flaversham with one more attack that he costs one more. Quest for 2, when you play this character and whenever he quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from another chosen character of yours. Gain 1 lore for each 1 damage removed this way. That's pretty neat. Kind of like a Grand Pabby from, what was he, from set 2? He's a little cheaper, and he himself fuels the healing and the lore gain. Kind of one of the issues with that deck was that you had to have something to fuel the healing and get the Grand Pabby out. Granted, it was repeatable in the sense that if you could just keep healing and keep healing and keep healing with whatever means, you know, a Chromacon, or I guess at the time it would have been Magic Golden Flower, Dingle Hopper, etc., the Grand Pabby would keep triggering. This is only going to trigger on play and on quest. Still, he's pretty fun. I don't think this will see much build at any of the current blue main, blue steel, blue red builds, but I think there is a certain build out there for this kind of deck. So, yeah, surely he will do a decent amount there. Except I kind of wish he had more attack power. The fact that he dies to a brawl is not amazing. So that doesn't feel good. But instant lore gain, hey, can't ever go wrong with that. We have another legendary. This is Yzma, the Conniving Chemist. She's a 4-cost inkable, 3/3. You can exert her if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand. Draw until you have 3 cards in your hand, and she naturally quests for 2. This card I find to be very weird. If this was in a different element, like if this was in yellow or red, I think it would be insanely strong. In purple already has so many ways to draw cards. We have friends on the other side: Maleficent, Rabbit, Queen's Castle, Amethyst Chromacon now. So this is a do nothing the turn you play it, and then unless you have some kind of combo where you can reactivate it, she can't ever really quest. Like if you're using her to refill your hand, then she's not really questing much. So that's not super interesting. Now that being said, like if you play your hand out or if they make you discard, the payoff for this is huge. You know, exert a character, draw 3 cards. That's really strong, and essentially will guarantee that your inkwell is going to stay full. But surely you're probably only getting that off one time, right? Like chances are they're going to then just kill her on the next turn. They're going to make a point to challenge her if your hand is that low. Sometimes in those amethyst decks too, though, like if you've got Rabbit and bounces like that, you don't actually even get your hand that low. So I think you do want a full 3 for her too, like just exerting her to draw a single card. I don't think that feels so great. Amethyst, I think, continues to get kind of really just wonky legends. Like what is the last Amethyst legend that has seen like consistent play? The Elsa, and even that only sees play in like Blurple decks these days. So yeah, I'd have to go through all the Amethyst legends. But I mean, again, if it was a different color, I think it'd be great. It just seems kind of slow, though, for what it does right now. But obviously, great payoff if you get there. Here's a smaller Baymax. 3-cost, 0/4 stat line. If you have an Inventor character in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. Paying 2 feels great. We'll have to see how many Inventors there are. Obviously, it's going to work with the hero that we see later. But like, is Maurice an Inventor? He probably is. And then you can pay 2, remove up to 1 damage from another chosen character. There's no limit to how much you can pay that, as long as you can continuously pay the ink. That's pretty cool. Then 2 lore, not bad. Again, his stats are fine. It's nice he's got a beefy body. Kind of sucks he does no damage, but if you can play him as a 2 cost, I think a 2 cost 0/4 that quest for 2, that's pretty darn strong. I don't know if there's any 1 cost inventors though, or maybe there will be in this set. This kind of works a little better with Grand Pabby because this one only triggers when he is doing his effect, right? Yeah. Removed this way, yeah. So this one would work well with Grand Pabby if you could have him in Grand Pabby and you just keep paying the Baymax. Although it's probably cheaper to just play something like Dinglehopper then, but maybe that way you're not forced into yellow. I don't know. It's kind of neat. Like, honestly, if you even take away the effects, just if you can get him down for 2, if there's a good 1 cost inventor to play, and he's just a 2/04 that quest for 2, that's honestly probably okay. That's inkable. Let's see. Yep, so next we have Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I think that's the theme song. First we have Chip, 3/4 stat line. While you have a character named Dale in play, he gains support. That's not very interesting. He's fine. We have a lot of these 4 bodies that quests for 2 on... Yeah, support's not really an effect worth going... Not worth building around. I do like the art, though. I like you can see Gadget there in the background, and he's holding off on the wing. This one's fun, too, where they're dropping the acorns. This is Dale. Same stat line, same cost. If you play this character, you put the top 3 cards of your deck into the discard to give a chosen character -3 attack until the start of the next turn. Not really much of a cost, especially in games like Lorcana and Magic, where you're only drawing 1 a turn, and there's 60-card decks. You're not really ever in risk of milling out, so... That's, yeah, it's not much of a cost. It's like a Kita, except it only affects 1 person. I don't know. Maybe you're just better off playing Kita. Yeah, 1, she can shift a turn earlier. 2, you can play her naturally the next turn, and then it hits everybody. Granted, it hits your own characters instead, so... this just doesn't... unless there's some other combo that works well with this just doesn't read super well. Fred, mascot by day. I kind of like him. You know, simple 1 cost, 1/1. That quest for 1, but then if he's challenged, you gain 2 lore. So if you put him out turn 1, they put out their Captain Hook or whatever their favorite preferred 1-drop is. You quest for 1, and then if they challenge to kill him, you gain 3. He got you a total of 3 lore. That's pretty cool. Obviously, pretty weak against something like Steel or any of the very small Ruby removal, where if they can just remove him outright, he's not going to get that bonus, but you might still be okay with that, right? Like, if they're still, whatever they're spending at least equal to his cost, if not more. The minimum they can, if they immediately fire the cannons, yeah, that doesn't feel amazing, but they still spent as much as you did, so it's not like you're coming out way behind. And if they spend more, if they blow up a boom on this guy, or if they pay 3 for a Storm Rage on, that doesn't feel as bad. So I wouldn't be surprised to not see him play over something still just kind of like Merfolk, but maybe, again, if it becomes very challenge heavy and you're not running against Steel, I think he could be kind of fun. Gadget Hackwrench, what a name. Brilliant Bosun. Let's see. I like her outfit. That's cool. It's a fun little picture. Presumably, she's going to get a target she can shift onto for this Floodborn. They usually do. I don't think there's been a set that's gone by where they get a Floodborn and they don't get a good shift target. Or not necessarily a good shift target, but a shift target. Her stats are fine. She dies to Medusa. That kind of sucks, but she'll survive, and along came Zeus, so that's nice against Steel. And then quest for 3. That's always good. While you have 3 or more items in play, you pay 1 less to play inventor characters. That doesn't read great, but again, I don't know who all the inventors are. We can see Hero here is an inventor, Honey Lemon is an inventor, so maybe they want you to go in on the whole Big Hero 6 theme. Maybe old Maurice from set 1 is worth, but it's just 1 less, and you have to already have 3 items in play. So, granted, we don't know what the 4 cost or the lower... It's got to be, you'd think, 1, 2, or 3 cost gadget that she'll shift onto on turn 4, right? So if you have that gadget out, how can you get 3 items in play by the time you would shift this on? It'd be interesting too if she worked with herself, but this effect won't be on the field until you've shifted. Because that'd be kind of neat, like if it reduced her cost, so she's actually kind of a 5 shift to 3 if you already had 3 items in play, and that like effect triggered in your hand, but it doesn't work that way. Yeah, interesting. I mean, if inventors are good, obviously a card like this is probably going to be pretty good, but this doesn't read super strong. Hero Hemada, Robotics Prodigy. Stat line is terrible for a 3-cost, no attack. However, his ability seems pretty decent. So you exert him, you pay 2, search your deck for an item, card, or robot character card, reveal it to all players. Shuffle your deck, put that card on top of it. Ravensburger, you can just say reveal it. You don't have to say reveal to all players. Like, revealing it assumes that everyone's going to see it. I know they're trying to word it for multiplayer, but like, you can just say reveal it. That implies that everyone gets to see it. I don't see what world it would be like, oh, it only says reveal it, so that means only to me personally. Anyway, obviously its search is very good. Being able to search out, there's no cost restriction to it, so there are some games where I can't find Lucky Dime. I'm in a blue deck and I want to get that Lucky Dime and I can't find it. And Hero says, go search out the Lucky Dime. That's really good. However, this is 3 costs. It does nothing that turn it enters, and because it has to exert, even if it's like late in the game and you just have ink to spare, you can't even use it right away. You still have to play him, wait an entire turn, then exert him and pay 2 to go search out your item. So, I mean, I guess it'd be cool in those games where it's like, man, I just cannot find a popsicle to save my life. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go get a popsicle. I have nothing better to do. But other than that, it just seems very slow and very easy to remove. Honey Lemon. I really like this character from the film. She is an inventor. And she's a 2-cost 1/1. Terrible stat line, but that's okay because you're paying her for her ability. Plus, she quests for 2 lore. That's nice. When you play this character, you may pay 2 to have each opponent choose and discard a card. So she would ultimately cost 4 for that. Paying 4 for a one-time discard on a 1/1 body, that's awful. That's really, really, really bad. Maybe you just ignore that part. Maybe you just play her as a 2 that quests for 2 lore. Granted, she's a worse Flynn Rider at that point, but then maybe if you happen to draw her later in the game, now she becomes a discard on entry. That's not terrible. Yeah, I don't know. That just, God, why did she have to have a 1/1 stat line? That's so bad. Yeah, if you're playing a 2-cost, like if you're trying to go aggressive and let's say green, purple, or green, yellow, I don't, there are better 2-costs that quest for 2. Yeah, Flynn is just a better card overall. So, yeah, unless there's some other combo build I'm not thinking of, this card seems pretty bad. Next we have, I was going to say Stitch, but it's actually Hot Potato. It's an action. Choose one. Deal 2 damage to a chosen character. Banish a chosen item. So it's like a mix of Rise of the Titans and Baboom rolled into one. But it costs more than Baboom and costs the same as Rise of the Titans, except it also then loses the versatility of hitting a location. I don't know. Seems kind of pricey. Like, it's more than Baboom. I mean, clearly the point is supposed to be the versatility, but I don't think you're going to want to pay 1 extra for that kind of versatility. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe if, like, items are still, you absolutely have to kill this Lucky Dime. Maybe being able to break... See, because the kind of problem with Rise of the Titans, right? Same with Cusco and Hideaway, is that some decks legit don't run items or locations. So those cards are dead. However, Hot Potato, every deck is running characters. So even if they don't have an item, you can still use it as a slightly more expensive Baboom. Maybe that will actually hit the sweet spot. Maybe that will be that perfect combination of effects that this is worth running. It still reads a little too expensive to me for what it does, but maybe that alone will give it what it wants. Jim Hawkins, this is kind of some nice art. I like the little globe nucleus he's holding. 7 cost, don't like that so much. No shift target. 4/7, stat line's decent. Avoids Medusa, avoids Brawl. Can take quite a few beatings from steel. He's a bodyguard, so he'll protect your friends. People like Chenpo, and this is essentially the Chenpo stat line. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You reveal any number of pirate character cards, put them in your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order. Obviously, it is his top end. He says pay 7, but draw 4 cards. That's awesome. I don't know how many pirates there are, if there's enough to fill a whole deck with in 2 colors, and if that's going to be worth playing. But if there are, I think that's going to feel pretty good. I think even if he draws you 2 cards, he's kind of like a Surfer Stitch then, without any other conditions that, you know, he doesn't have to have other characters on the board. Granted, you're going to have to hit pirates, and so if you don't hit pirates, then this card's going to feel absolutely terrible to pay for 7. So it'll just depend on how good pirates are. Speaking of pirates, here's Kakamora, 4 cost, uninkable, Rush. They keep doing this thing with Ruby where they want to give all these cards with Rush, but they're all uninkable. So you just don't want to use any of them. And the fact that he whacks for 5 is fantastic, but the fact that he'll essentially die to anything is absolutely terrible. He couldn't even hit something like the new Elsa, which is evasive. He'd be pretty solid for challenging locations, except then you're running this uninkable, like for one more, you can just run the Hercules, right? And hit something for 7 and guarantee you take out a castle. I don't know. I haven't seen any of these cards. Like, the reason Maui is so popular, 1, he's inkable. 2, 6 means he takes out most things in one shot. And 3, more importantly, he has 5 health. So he usually survives anything he attacks, which means he's going to hit one more thing or they're going to have to use a little removal on him. If Maui had 2 health, he would not be that popular because he would just instantly die to whatever he ran into. And this is uninkable. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Next, we have the Mad Hatter's Teapot. I just released a deck tech about the Jafar wheel list, and it involved kind of milling your opponent. Well, this card was certainly built for it. Exert it, pay 1. Each opponent puts the top card of their deck into their discard. So unless you are absolutely, your plan is to mill them out, this card is completely worthless. I guess the only other way it would be useful is if they are playing something where they are stacking the top card of their deck, maybe something like an Alma Madrigal where they search out a Madrigal and put it on top and you don't want them to get that. So then you would use this to mess with that plan, but you do not have the space or the ink to pay for something that doesn't affect the field at all. You could also be helping them if they're like 2 cards away from a card they need and you just get rid of one of the dead cards and help them draw into the main one. Terrible. So great in a mill deck. Does that mean the best form of mill would be purple gray? Obviously you'd have Whole New World there. You wouldn't be able to do the green actions to repeat, but yeah, outside of mill, pretty worthless. But who knows? I don't know how viable that will make mill as a strategy. Depends how much of this comes out, but it's cool. I'll definitely put it in that deck. Rescue Rangers away! Count the number of characters you have in play. Chosen character loses equal strength, equal to that number until the start of your next turn. This card seems absolutely terrible. It's not a song, so you're going to have to hard pay 2 for it. It's also based on the characters you have in play. And then, like, okay, so if you have 3 in play, you pay 2 for this and they lose 3. You could also play Kita or the card we saw up above that did that. The what was it, the Dale? Also do that, and that comes with a body. Like, this card just seems terrible. Like, it doesn't even lower their... I'd almost rather if it lowered their willpower. That'd be kind of interesting, right? That what if they have 4 willpower, you have 4 characters, you use it, their willpower goes to 0 and they just kind of die. And that'd be neat, because yeah, if they've got a big body that you have to attack into, them having no strength, I mean, yeah, it means you won't get hurt on the crackback, but cards like this have yet to see play. I don't see this being any different. Sisu. I don't know why this character continues to get cards. Maybe it's just the bias of me, because I didn't really like that film. Whatever. Here she is in purple. 5 cost, 3/6 stat line. Which is, I mean, I guess that's okay for a 5 cost. It's the same as a Robin Hood, so yeah, I guess that makes sense. 2 lore, that's good. That's nice. And then she challenges for 2, so she hits like a reverse Maui, hits for 5/6. Although it means she only kills Maui when she's challenging him. She won't kill him on... Yeah, I don't know. It's just a body. It doesn't do anything special. Especially with no rush. A card like this is kind of very late to be challenging, so I don't see that one getting much use. And there's better Sisus to shift onto if you're going for the big red one. Stitch, the alien buccaneer. He's a Floodborn, which is always relevant when you're in green. Granted, maybe not so much now that Bucky's gone. Uninkable, don't like that. His stats are okay for a 4 cost. 2 lore is always good. He can be shifted. That's nice. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may put an action card from your discard on the top of your deck. I hate these effects where you have to shift to get them to trigger. That means you have to have an earlier Stitch. Like, it's already uninkable. Like, I don't want an uninkable that I can't just play outright to get it to do something. There are better cards if you're trying to just get lore and have a body. So you have to shift him. Maybe, I mean, what other Stitch are you shifting him on? Are you playing him in yellow and then you're shifting it onto that Stitch? But for the same cost, you could be doing Rockstar Stitch, which has a much better payoff. And on top of that, like if you try to do this on curve, 1, 2, shift 1, 3, what action card have you already burned that you then want to put on top of your deck, which could hurt you? Like if you've already burned, draw your, fire the cannons. Okay, well now you're going to draw fire the cannons again. Maybe if it's something like Stormray John, that would be worth it, because at least that one draws you a card deeper. Like, I don't know if you want to block your card draw for the turn with fire the cannons. Now if you're playing green-red and you do this late and you get back a Be Prepared, that's pretty strong. Or a Whole New World, but yeah, I don't know, just reads very slow to me. A lot of conditions. Have to have an action card in your discard, and you have to have a Stitch, and you got to shift onto that Stitch, and then it goes on top of your deck, so you don't even quite draw it yet. Like, it just seems like a lot of bleh. Tigger in the Crow's Nest, he's a pirate. Evasive. Whenever you play an action, he gets 1 attack and 1 lore. The attack is pretty worthless as a 1/4 for 3. It's not very good, even if it can hit evasives. However, questing for 2 lore is very good, so I like that effect way more for the lore gain than the attack. That being said, unless there's a way to like infinite loop an action, these whole actions and then they gain power, it just never seen much play. If the Pete that gains like 2 per action hasn't seen much play, then I don't think this will either. Finally, Wasabi. 4 costs, 3/3. When you play his character, you may banish an item. Its player gains 1 lore. I don't know. I probably decent if you're using it on your own items, but if you're playing a 4 cost to banish an item, you want to play Flaversham and then draw cards off of it. Like losing a popsicle for a single lore, that's not amazing. So you probably are using it more to break your opponent's items, but I don't know if you want to give them lore. Like if it's getting in the late game and they have a dime and you're trying to get rid of that dime, I think the last thing you want to do is give them more lore. But I don't know, maybe you would prefer that. Maybe you don't want to give them stuff in the inkwell, or you don't want to give them, a card draw like Judy Hopps did. Maybe if it's early enough and you know you're winning anyway, maybe the 1 lore is worth it. I don't know. I do like that he can at least challenge evasives. That part's kind of nice. But yeah, other than that, I just don't know. Blue has a lot of item removal already, and giving them the win condition, obviously, if they don't have much lore, it won't be a big deal, but if they're very close, the last thing you want to do is give them more. That's it for the ones that were listed. I was shown a card that, I don't know if this was revealed earlier and we missed it, or if this was just revealed randomly, but this is Gogo, I forget how you say her name in the film, Gogo Tomago? Was that how they said it? It's a 2 cost, 2/2. Not a great stat line. There are 1 cost with that stat, but is evasive. That's really nice. And the effect is fun. When you play this character, you can pay an extra 2 ink to gain lore equal to the damage on choosing opposing character. So really, really good if they have a character with a lot of damage on it, but then you're paying 4 for this. So, but that you'd pay, right? You would pay 4 for this. How much lore do you want to get to pay 4 for this? I think it has to be 2 or higher, right? Because you play Goat for 4, and Goat essentially gives you 2 lore. So if you pay 4, and if you got 2 or more lore, I think this would feel really good. 3 lore. If you only got 1, I don't know. But then again, it's in that weird spot where, well, it kind of wants to be played early, but also you want to save it for later. And the fact that they have to have damage on them, all that is so specific. I don't think this is going to see much play. But if the whole consistent damaged opponent characters ever becomes a real thing, this could see some play. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any cards that really stood out to you, some cards or plans that you're hoping to see in the next set. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Hoping to push more videos out soon, and I do have a nice green-blue deck tech coming in the very short future. Appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.